Hello, my name's Aaron. I am a Scottish Swiftie. I live in Edinburgh, the capital of Scotland. It's very whimsical. There's like a castle, there's cobblestone. I feel like Fearless era Taylor would have really liked Edinburgh. Um, so I've been a Swiftie pretty much since the beginning. I was like 11 years old when her first album came out. And I remember on YouTube watching, Picture to Burn obsessively. Um, Being really into I'm Only Me When I'm With You, like really, really into that. Um, and even at that time, the music video for that song is kind of like tour footage, she's doing like gigs and stuff like that. And she had a fan base at that point, and I just remember being like amazed that someone had like fans, um and also being aware that she was like a fairly new artist. um so I used to just like sit and watch like that music video, and yeah, I've just always been like a big fan, a big admirer of her. um and I really like the fact that, and she's aware of this, she has never kind of let go of what makes her unique. That first and foremost, she is a storyteller. Even, with 1989, which is the album that I'm going to kind of break down and review and analyze in this video, although she's kind of not as forthcoming with the songs on this album, they're a bit more generic. There's some kind of things that, die-hard fans would hear or see in a music video from the time and be like, oh, that's Harry's necklace, or, little things. But unlike Red, Fearless, debut probably wasn't as, on the nose, to be fair. She just wasn't as forthcoming. And what I'm really excited to kind of discuss, and I think what I'll discuss more so in this video, is the vault tracks. Because the vault tracks, I was stunned. I was absolutely stunned with some of the things she was saying in these vault tracks. Speaking of her being a storyteller, she had a story to tell, and she was telling it. She wasn't holding back. Yeah, and I can understand why these vault tracks didn't make it onto the album. So I'm going to go through. I'm going to start off by saying, of Taylor's version, what ones I think really worked, what ones for me have kind of replaced the originals, what ones maybe didn't work, or that I just don't like, as much as the original, and obviously get into the vault tracks. But my kind of connection with this album, just, for some added context. So like I said, had been a big Taylor fan more or less from the beginning. I maybe caught on big time in like 2007, because I think that's when YouTube became like a thing. So about 2007. And yeah, just basically followed her and kept up with her from then. But when 1989 came out, it's interesting because I was like a big Red fan. I loved Red. I listened to it all the time. It was like when I would go for a shower, like to get ready for school the following day, I would just listen to Red, front to back. It was my album. I was obsessed. And it was the first time, funnily enough, that my dad kind of showed an interest in who I was listening to. Because I would listen to Katy Perry, I would listen to Lady Gaga, and he'd never been like, oh, who's that? Or, oh, what are they saying? But I think it was possibly All Too Well. I think it was All Too Well. And he kind of like put his head in my bedroom door and was like, who's that? And I was like, Taylor Swift. And he was like, oh. And then kind of like walked away. Which for him, that was like showing an interest. That was like peak interest. But then with 1989, I was quite busy. I mean, obviously I heard Shake It Off on the radio. Shake It Off became like almost like the unofficial anthem for like mankind at that time. Like every country's national anthem was Shake It Off. If I was going out to a club, you know, you would hear like remixes of like the hits off of this one. It was inescapable. So, but I was busy with kind of like grown up life. Yeah, like had gotten to like a pretty serious relationship in like kind of late 2013 to early 2014. We'd like moved in together. You know, we were working full time, going out occasionally when we could, like at the weekends and stuff. But I wasn't as kind of like following her life as much as I had been. So like I was aware that she was kind of dating Harry Styles, but like things, you know, like the blue dress on the boat, the, you know, cutting his chin when they were like skiing, I wasn't aware of those things. Whereas like some other people were like on Tumblr and like following it as it was happening. I wasn't really. But with 1989, I bought the physical CD for the album. And it was this kind of shows the difference. So like when Red was out, I was still in high school and I would play it getting ready for school or in the shower or, you know, doing homework. And then for 1989, I was like, had finished high school, had left college, because I was only in college for like a year. I gave up, I quit. Had my own place. And then 1989 was the album that I would like do my housework to. So I'd be like hoovering, or, you know, out walking the dog and I'd be listening to 1989. Like, yeah. So it's interesting now, all these years later, I've got more context for what things mean because I've learned it like after the fact, and I've learned so much watching, you know, like a girl called Ali, Chats and Reacts. Like I've learned the lore, almost like retrospectively. Some things just kind of over time, and then much deeper things, and watching, you know, reactors on YouTube. So yeah, so that's my kind of connection. So like, heard the songs, the singles anyway, everywhere you went. I owned the album. I would listen to it all, and mostly when I was doing housework, being a domestic goddess. So, but back when this album came out, the standouts for me were always, I mean, style, duh. Style is a masterpiece. It's pop perfection. Let's not lie. It's amazing. All You Had to Do Is Stay will always be one of my favorite songs of hers ever. And it kind of obviously bucked the trend of the track 5 being like really sad. Like obviously if you listen to the lyrics, like it's pretty sad. It's like, you know, you were all I wanted, but not like this. You know, all you had to do was stay. It's a shame. As time went on, Shake It Off, if I heard it come on, I would like bang my head into a wall. It was just a bit like, you couldn't shake this song off. You know, you can shake anything else off, but not Shake It Off. You know, you shake and it just sticks to you. It clings. So yeah. And Clean. Clean was one that I really loved. I just adored Clean. Songs I didn't really vibe with for years. The opening track, Welcome to New York, was a skip. Welcome to New York just wasn't my vibe. Oh yeah, I Know Places. Yeah, that was I just wouldn't. I just didn't. I did not. But that was really it. You know, it's a very strong album. She knew what she wanted. She wanted that album of the year, and she got it, and she deserved it. You know, she put in the work, and she just completely proved that she could do the pop thing and be the main pop girl, and she was. Although the album that came after this is my favourite album. Um, Obviously this is the first video on my channel. I've never done a reaction video, but because Reputation, I know it so intimately, I know it so well. Um, and, and it's kind of the only time in my life where what was happening in Taylor's life, like they kind of aligned. There was like a, cohesion there. And so a lot of the songs on it really, really spoke to me and really helped me actually to become more resilient and just kind of actually shake things off. Like Shake It Off made me want to get committed to a psychiatric hospital, whereas a lot of the songs on Reputation actually helped me to learn to shake things off and not care what people said. Call it what you want. But yeah, so that's my general kind of knowledge and context and history and opinion of, the stolen version of 1989, the original. In terms of this version, so basically we'll go through and how I think it went with each one. So personally, I think Welcome to New York sounds just as good. I think it sounds pretty much the same. I'm pretty sure it was the same producer she brought back for it. I think he did well. I don't think it sounds better. It definitely doesn't sound worse. I think it's pretty strong. I think it sounds more or less the same. Blank Space, kind of the same. It's slightly different, but like not in a bad way. So I would take that over the original. I don't see much of an issue. If it came on, I would know that it was Taylor's version. Whereas Welcome to New York, maybe. I think more so it's in the vocals. Her vocals are so much stronger. Track 3, Style. Like, I'm not a negative person, like I'm really not. During my own Reputation era, I kind of was. But, so I don't want to be one of those people that just like piles on the hate for Style, because there's almost now this like faction of Swifties that are like Style TV haters. Like they hate people that hate Style TV. But it's just not as good. And it's very noticeably different in a bad way. In my personal opinion. And I just don't know what went wrong. Yeah, because some of the productions I think sound quite complex or complicated, and they're able to like replicate them really well. But Style just didn't. And the thing with Red TV, to me, the kind of pop hits. 22 is okay, surprisingly. 22 is alright. But like We're Never Getting Back Together, I Knew You Were Trouble, hot mess, bad. So I was always worried about this album because it is just pop. And whereas we had a couple of songs done by Max Martin on Red, we had like almost a whole album done by Max Martin on 1989. And with her not getting him back for those few songs on Red or this, I was like, okay, that's a choice. And I feel like the only one it really backfired on was Style, strangely enough. I don't know what it is, because the rest aren't bad, but Style, don't know what happened. Out the Woods, it was Jack Antonoff that did that originally. He came back for it. I think it's good. The one part that really stands out in a good way in Out the Woods is during the bridge when she's saying, remember when you hit the brakes too soon, 20 stitches in the hospital room. So every last word she says, there's a very high like falsetto Taylor with a lot of reverb, like a lot of echo, doing a very high pitched kind of soon, room, to, and it's a lot more noticeable in this version, and I quite like it. So when it gets to the bridge, I tune into that, and I actually really enjoy that. Shake It Off. Sorry, I've missed one. All You Had to Do Was Stay. Oh yeah, and my favourite. So All You Had to Do Was Stay, I think it's pretty good. The thing that was always the kind of worry for me getting butchered was the stay, like the high-pitched stay. But yeah, I think they did a really good job. I think it works really well. Shake It Off. Yeah, it's Shake It Off. Apparently people say there's like a clicking noise that like really bothers them. I don't hear that. The song as a whole kind of bothers me. Do you know what's funny though? See if the music video comes up on YouTube, like recommended, or just starts auto playing. I will sit and watch the entire music video and have the best time and just feel so happy. But the song, skip. It's a skip. But this version's fine. It's okay. It sounds good. I Wish You Would. Yeah, it was never like a favourite for me. I wouldn't skip it. The only thing about this version I don't like is the visual on Spotify. It's like a very blurry, out of focus car driving kind of down a dark road. But then with these very crisp, sharp, like neon blue and pink kind of lines around the rectangle, like the screen. And it just looks weird. I'm like, could you not have got like a clearer shot of a car? And it's also one of the only visuals that has like those neon lines. And I just don't think they work. I think, yeah. It's a very weird nitpick to have because it's actually not about the song, it's about the Spotify visual. But yeah, if you agree, let me know about anything I'm saying, if you agree or disagree. Bad Blood, I think, sounds really good. I think she sounds not angrier, but just, I think because her vocals are stronger. I take her more seriously. I do remember at the time, hearing Bad Blood for the first time and being a bit like, oh, Taylor's like being, you know, we had like Better Than Revenge, which was a bit, you know, but then Bad Blood, I was like, But actually after a while I was like, nah, this is good. And then the Kendrick Lamar version came out and it was like everywhere, but in a good way. I wanted that to be everywhere. And I think this version is good. I think her stronger vocals really help it. Wildest Dreams. Yeah, I think this version of Wildest Dreams, we've had it for a while, so I've had quite a while to think about it. And it's noticeably different to me. I think what it is, Taylor's such a good vocalist now. She's so much more confident in her voice and how to use it, that I think sometimes it almost sounds too controlled. Like that spontaneity, that kind of it's towards the end there's like a bit of a riff about the high note kind of, and in the original it just sounds like she's kind of really like belting, like she's really giving it her all, which works because of the kind of the song and the emotion and, you know. But then in this one, I mean, she hits the note and it's still lovely, it's great, but there's something a bit too, it's like, it's no longer like rough around the edges, it's no longer as like passionate sounding, it just sounds very confident. Whereas, I don't know, there's, it's hard to explain, so maybe it is just this kind of like bias of you were so used to that original version that now you've got this, you know, you'll gravitate towards the little things. But there's just something about the way she's able to really control her voice now, and it's kind of like the original where, you know, she was hitting these big notes and like really going for it in a way that I hadn't really heard her before do, and I was like, wow. But you know, I can't criticize someone for now being a very like skilled singer. Like, she's done really well. How You Get the Girl, this version, super upgrade, like amazing. How You Get the Girl was never a song I would like gravitate to. I wouldn't skip it a lot. I wouldn't ever go out of my way to listen to it. But see, now I do. Like, it just sounds, everything's been punched up a bit and just sounds a bit more elevated. I feel like now it's got more of a 22 Taylor's version vibe. Like, it feels like a party. Like, the original was fun, but this one, I don't know, it just feels like more of a party, which is strange. And I've not seen or heard any of like the kind of reactors like talk about this. Swiftologist, that's, yeah, he's another great reactor. Yeah, Girl Called Ali, Chats and Reacts, and Swiftologist are like my three kind of go-tos for anything Taylor Swift. But one thing I've not heard anyone like pick up on is it's like around the 130 mark, I think. The remind her how it used to be. And then there's like a little like squeal, like she remind her how it used to be, yeah, yeah. Ah. She does like a little, ah. And that wasn't there in the original. And I remember when I heard that, I was like, oh my god, that's new. And then I was like, is it new? Because no one else is like talking about it. So I went and listened to the original, and there's no little like squeal thing, and I'm like, okay. And again, it's not like one of my favorite songs from this album. So the fact I was able to be like, that's new, that's not been there before. But yeah, I've not really heard anyone talking about the little squeal. And also the fact that Taylor decided, like, of all things, like of all the songs she was going to add something to, it would be, oh, I'm going to add a little squeal. Just, just because I feel like it. So maybe when she was recording this version, it also felt more like a party, you know? This Love, it's nice, I like it. Again, we've had this one for a while. I like the visual on Spotify where it's the kind of just a photo of her, but they've kind of animated the hair to kind of be waving. I think it's pretty. I think it's nice. I Know Places. Yeah, this version is better. It is. It just kind of packs more of a punch. It's a bit stronger, but yeah, it's just not one I'm ever going to listen to. I just don't. I don't know what it is. Yeah, I don't know. But then it really goes off towards the end. In the dead of night, your eyes so green, like just before that, and that whole section, like the outro kind of section, like is really good. But I'm just, yeah, not a fan of I Know Places. And then Clean. So the original Clean was one of my favourite songs, if not my favourite song off of the original in 1989. And so I was like, they're either going to butcher this version or it'll be fine, but it won't replace the original. And actually, this version for me has replaced the original. The instrumental is slightly different, but it's more distinct. You can almost hear the different individual parts. It's almost like being inside like a clock or something, some kind of like weird underwater otherworldly clock, and you can hear all the different mechanisms and cogs like doing their thing. And before it was a little bit muffled, which was fine actually, and just added to that kind of dreamy kind of vibe. Also, when she's singing in this, she actually sounds like she is over it. She sounds like she is like 10 months older, 10 months sober, clean. It's like she's smiling when she's saying it, like she's got her like shoulders are like relaxed and she's just kind of like, it's fine. Whereas in the original, now when I listen to that, she's singing it, but I'm almost like, are you clean? You still sound a little bit sad, or a little bit kind of like, but and I suppose she does say, just because you're clean don't mean you don't miss it. But there's just something about the way she sounds on this track, that this version, yeah, she just sounds like she's come out the other side, like genuinely, and she has, because it's so many years later, 9 years later, I guess maybe 10 when you think about when they were dating, Harry and Taylor. But yeah, I really like this version of Clean. I think it did well. I think Wonderland sounds pretty good. There's a lot of moving parts to that song, and I think they were able to do like a really good job replicating it pretty much, note for note. You're in Love, I think this version of You're in Love is really nice. It's gorgeous. Yeah, it's fantastic. New Romantics, again, a lot of parts to it that might have gone wrong. I still want to know what happened to Style. If you can do New Romantics and Wonderland, how can't you do Style? I don't know. But yeah, so that's the kind of like standard tracks. But now we get into the vaults. And one thing I will say is I've always loved 80s music, just the sound of the 80s. And when I did hear that Taylor was releasing an album called 1989, I knew that it obviously wouldn't be like entirely you know, she might have either gone for a very late or even early 90s kind of sound. But then when I listened to the album, I was like, oh, okay, like, you know, there's bits of inspiration here, but like not a whole lot. I think on the standard track, the one that sounds the most kind of 80s, This Love, like a little bit, kind of. Out of the Woods, yeah. Um, what other one? Clean. There's like little bits of 80s kind of in there. But then what I found so interesting is that pretty much all of the vault tracks are undeniably 80s sounding, like they have an 80s vibe. And I do think that was very deliberate. I don't think there would be a world where in 2015, the original came out, that you would have, or 2014, or around that time, I just don't think there's a universe where you would have the likes of like Blank Space, All You Had to Do Was Stay, I Wish You Would, like with Slut sounding like this, or Say Don't Go sounding like that, or Now That We Don't Talk sounding like that. Like, Is It Over Now at least sounds a little bit like Out of the Woods. So I could imagine a world where Is It Over Now with this sound was on the original 1989, because they actually do have a very similar vibe and kind of like soundscape. But I just think it's interesting that for the vault tracks they have gone full 80s, which works because, well, in the 2020s 80s sounds have been like so popular, you know, think of like Future Nostalgia, The Weeknd, even like some of Chromatica. Like the 80s kind of sound has made such a huge comeback, and that's just like the big artists. Like there are so many artists on Spotify when I'm just listening to like a shuffle and it goes onto a playlist, like artists I don't really know the name of, I don't really know who they are, but when their songs come on I'm like, oh my god, that's so 80s. Like it's a very current sound, and so I think it was smart for them to make the vault sound like that, because these are new songs, and so you might as well make them sound like they are new songs. Because if they came out and sounded like they were from 2014, 2015, they might not chart as well. I mean, it's Taylor Swift. They could sound like they were from 2005 and they would still chart well because it's Taylor Swift. But I just absolutely love the sound of Slut. I just think it's so dreamy and so, yes, so LA, which she says in the voice note. And, you know, the flamingo pink and the tangerine and aquamarine, like the colors are very like Miami Beach, and it just makes you think like, you know, 1989, you know, think of like Saved by the Bell, like the intro for Saved by the Bell, or the colors in like, I don't even know, like a Goofy movie or something, just that kind of very early 90s, you know, but with throwbacks to like the 80s. Yeah, especially Now That We Don't Talk has that, yeah, complete. I'd actually love to hear someone do like an AI cover of like Now That We Don't Talk, but using like a group that was from the 80s. I can't think of like an example off the top of my head, but it's just so like 80s sounding, like the instrumental is so good. But going back one to Say Don't Go, Say Don't Go, you know, it's co-written with Diane Warren, so it's not got 100% of the Taylor stamp on it. It's not, it's almost more in line with 1989 in that it says what it needs to say, but it doesn't say too much, you know, unlike Is It Over Now? Jesus Christ. Blondie went off. But yeah, Say Don't Go, I love it. I just think it's a gorgeous song, and again it has that kind of 80s vibe and soundscape. You know, Diane Warren helped to write If I Could Turn Back Time by Cher, and you can almost feel that DNA kind of in it somewhere, kind of running through it. I love it, yeah. And again, to go into the Spotify visual, I'm a big visual person. I love and I think it's also on the lyric video on YouTube. It's like nighttime, or like just approaching kind of nighttime, like fully dark, but the sky's still kind of blue, and you can see the seagulls and birds flying off the rocks and over the ocean, and it's just gorgeous. Like, I live by the sea, and I love going out towards the lighthouse at night and just walking there, and seeing a few stars, maybe a ship passing by in the distance, and hearing seagulls still kind of flying around looking for food somewhere. So just that feeling and that visual, to see it represented for Say Don't Go was like really nice. So I've got a big soft spot for Say Don't Go. I really like it. Really like Slut. Really like Now That We Don't Talk. It's short. I do wish that she had like written more, because I mean, she had a 10-minute song that we were all dying to hear for years. So like, we will never say that Taylor gives us too much. Yeah, but then I also like the fact that Now That We Don't Talk does end so abruptly, because it kind of ties into the idea of this relationship ending quite abruptly, and so it works. Suburban Legends, I don't love. I think sometimes Taylor's, I say her problem, that sounds like really kind of disrespectful and demeaning, but like, I don't think she's good at self-editing. I can't, is it Liz Rose, or I think it's Liz Rose, something like that helped her to edit All Too Well from this 10-minute version to what we had on Red, the original version. And they're two completely different songs, they just are. And in a lot of ways, the shorter one does pack more of a punch. Because the longer version, similar to Is It Over Now, almost overshares and can get a little bit too wordy and a bit too complex, and so it's nice to have this kind of condensed version, but then have this longer version that's Taylor really just letting rip and saying what she wants and needs to say. Some of the little phrases and stuff she uses, you could almost imagine someone coming in and being like, I see what you're going with that, or where you're going with that, but maybe try this, maybe use this word instead of that word, maybe take this out. I feel it in like Mastermind. I'm not a big fan of Mastermind, and I don't know why, but Suburban Legends almost makes me think of Mastermind. There's maybe like a similar instrumental thing going on there, but yeah, like the thing about the slippery hose on a plastic summer, always quickly forgiven, like, I get it, like the hose kind of went a bit wild and it maybe got water everywhere, but it's just kind of like, you're comparing a guy getting texts from unmarked numbers in your peripheral vision to a hose on a plastic summer, like a slip and slide. It's a very weird, it's like, you do you, it's done now, it's out there in the world, but just not a fan. And then when it gets to the TikTok on the clock, I'm like, I'm sorry, but we had TikTok by Kesha for years by this point, years. And she was like, I know, I'll write in a song TikTok on the clock when TikTok by Kesha exists. Like, if this had come out in 2015, Kesha would have been like, am I a joke to you? Like, am I a joke? Maybe that's why Taylor donated so much money to like Kesha's court case. Because she was like, I kind of stole your lyrics, boo. But yeah, Suburban Legends, not a fan. Too convoluted. I think it needs edited a bit. And also like the school analogies, like, we're not in school anymore. Like, I thought you were on his couch. I thought, he was taking off your blouse. I thought, you were getting kind of drunk. And now we're in school. We're in a school gymnasium. Ma'am, this is a club. This isn't school. And then Is It Over Now? Really good. this is oversharing and being wordy, but in a good way. Because she can do the wordy oversharing thing. She does it well and all too well. She does it not as well in Suburban Legends, not as well in Mastermind. She does it well in Is It Over Now. It's so good. There's a reason that Is It Over Now went so high in the charts when it came out recently. Not only because people were curious to stream it and listen to it because they were like, oh, it's about Harry, and it's really about Harry. I mean, I know that Now That We Don't Talk says the whole you grew your hair long, and well, now he's shaved it all off. The two things are not connected. But yeah, Is It Over Now is just really good, and I think sonically sounds the most similar to the kind of soundscape that we were playing with in the original 1989. No, it fits on well. I'm pretty sure she said in the voice memo that she kind of considered it like a sister song to Out of the Woods. You know, are we out of the woods? Is it over now? Can I ask you a question? I just love Is It Over Now. And I think you can kind of tell how much she loves it too, and that it's maybe is just like kind of a favourite for her, because the visual on Spotify is very like tailored to kind of, it's the most unique. You know, the others are just kind of like one picture or one little kind of video clip, whereas this is like a whole little montage of visuals from this era of 1989, no, Taylor's version. That stood out to me as well. I wouldn't be surprised if she made a music video for this, because she has made a video for each version that she's released. I think the only thing with this is it's very on the nose. Like, she goes for Harry's jugular, like she goes for the throat, and yeah, she ate and left no crumbs. So to release a music video that was very much about Harry, and we all know it, and says things like, you know, searching every model's bed, and, you know, blue dress on a boat, it would be kind of awkward. You know, there was the initial chatter and all the think pieces and BuzzFeed articles and clickbait about, oh, is this lyric and Is It Over Now about Harry? And, you know, we're like 2.5 weeks in now and it's kind of blowing over. So then for her to like release a music video about the whole thing would be a little bit kind of insane. But Taylor's known for being just a little bit insane. It's kind of partly why we love her. So she might. However, I think if she was going to do a music video, I personally don't think she would do it for Is It Over Now. Even though it's climbed the highest on the charts, even though it would make a great video, I think if she was going to do one for this album, possibly Slut. I think the video would be lovely. I think the video would be really nice. It's got quite a modern sound. I think it would start to chart higher once the video comes out. Yeah, I think a video for Slut would be really nice. And also it kind of ties into, like, she's getting a lot of backlash now for dating Travis Kelce, which is just why is she getting backlash? Pretty weird. You know, it feels like being back in kind of like 2012 all over again, or like 2013. You know, watching her getting dragged just for dating, like any normal 20-something-year-old. But yeah, so I think doing a video for Slut would be interesting. And she could almost kind of tie in little kind of threads of what's happening now into the video. Potentially doing a music video for one of the songs that was our original song that didn't get a video. So maybe like All You Had to Do Was Stay, or something fun like How You Get the Girl. Maybe. That'd be fun. So yeah, but we'll see. We'll see what she did. We never know what she's gonna do. But she has released a video for every. Yeah, she has. She's done a music video for what are they all vault tracks? Well, All Too Well 10, and then I Can See You. So yeah, we'll see what she does for for this. It'll be interesting, actually. I hope she does. I hope she doesn't just not do a music video, because there's a lot of good material to work with here. So yeah, we'll see. Or clean. Oh, a clean music video. That would be cool. That would be cool. And again, it's one of the more 80s sounding songs on this album, so we'll see. But yeah, so that's my kind of like personal opinion, review, breakdown of this album. I think of all her re-records, it isn't her best. Her best to me, and I'll do a separate video about Fearless TV. But yeah, I think Fearless TV is just chef's kiss. It's like superior. No notes. She did so well, and the people producing on that did an amazing job with Fearless TV. There's not one single song on that hasn't replaced the original for me. I just listen to Fearless TV. I'm not one of those people that like will just grin and bear it and listen to a song that to me doesn't sound as good. Like, I'm not ever going to listen to Style TV. Sue me. You know, I'm never going to listen to like I Knew You Were Trouble TV. I will just go back and listen to the old ones if I want to. But yeah, I think overall, like, I think this is a pretty successful re-record and version. I just want to know what happened with Style. I really do. Yeah, but let me know what you think. Points that you agree with me on, that you disagree with me on, and if you would like to see me do like a in the moment reaction to Reputation TV when it comes out, that might be fun. Because again, like, I will really pick up on like the most subtle differences or improvements. So yeah, comment below. Let me know what you thought of this, what else you'd like to see, and yeah, take care. Bye.